Islam. It's good, Moors. Peace, love, and hotep. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. End of the end of another one. We want to say Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Peace, love, and hotep to you all. We are great. It's a great time right now to be Moors. It's a great time. You know what I mean, we have so much people waking up right now. So much people waking up. People are waking up in mass numbers right now. Dirty Moors are losing fiat all over the place. It's a great time right now. Great time. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. All the Moors in every jurisdiction that is proclaiming their nationality. And not only proclaiming their nationality, but they're also getting the word out that nationality is the order of the day. And because nationality is the order of the day, trust me, by you putting those messages out, by you standing strong to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, Allah and the Prophet is going to have your back. Trust me on that. Trust me. Keep your eyes open. Watch the news, newspapers, whatever. Listen to the radio. Because there's going to be so many things that are going to be revealed to us. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes wide open. Make sure you keep your eyes open. Because things are going to be revealed to us. Things are going to be revealed to us. And the only thing that matters is, did you receive the message or did you miss it? If you're in tune with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, if you miss the message, don't worry. Another message is coming right behind that one, just like a bus. So don't even worry that you missed the message. Another one's coming. If you haven't been inspired, or if you haven't seen a message in a long time, it probably means that you're not studying enough. You know what I mean? So your vibration, your frequency is low. So you need to, do something about that. Now, for the Moors that are living in northwest Amexem, more the northern part, you might realize for the past four days or so, it's been crazy with the weather going on. You know what I mean? All these cloudy days and stuff like that. Weather fluctuating patterns and stuff like that. Lots of rain. Even right now, we got serious overcast out here in Canaanland. You know, and people are gonna oh yeah, weather, just the weather, how the weather is or whatever like that. We always say that when we were in high school, I mean, this is like early 90s. Summertime was March break to October. March break to October out here was summertime when I was in high school. And summertime when I was in high school was, you're showering and sweating. Those are the summers that I grew up on. You know what I mean? I grew up on summers that, when you go to, summer vacation and, you go back home to, wherever, Trinidad, Jamaica, Tobago, wherever, you can't walk barefoot if you haven't been doing that for a little while, because, you will burn your foot sole off because it's so hot. So there's definitely a change going on right now. You know what I mean? We definitely have to be wise to the fact that, as we know, as Moors, because, we don't just sit back and, listen to the propaganda machine or whatever like that, weatherman and, stuff like that. We know they got weather machines. We know that they're using um, things to manipulate the weather. So with all these cloudy days and stuff like that going on right now, we just wanted to put on the record, oh yeah, and Islam to the 11 Moors that's online, you know what I mean, in time for class. Honors to you, you know what I mean? Keep the vortex open. What we're gonna read, Brother Noon Nadiel sent me this email, and this made sense as to why there's all these clouds and why they got HARP going overtime right now. Right? Why they have HARP going overtime right now. Okay. Star of Bethlehem? Question mark. What? Star of Bethlehem? This is what they're trying to hide. But as sentient beings, okay, this is training for us to get ourselves out of living in this third dimensional reality. Close your eyes and live ethereally. Live outside of this reality, right? Because they're doing everything that they can to make sure that things in this reality are clouded. They're doing everything to make sure that things in this reality appear to be, right? They want things not to be visible, right? Because with if you can see something, then that means you can close your eyes and visualize it. If you can't see it, then you're kind of, guessing in your mind, right? So what we want to do is invoke the spirits of Allah, universal principles, 42 laws of Ma'at, etc. We want to invoke the ancestors to allow us to be able to tap into higher frequencies, right? However you tap in, doesn't matter, right? It's about just tapping in. Noble Drew Ali taught the Moors, honor thy mothers and fathers, so your days could be longer on the earth plane, which is, a form or a sense of tapping into something higher, right? So we want to get Moors to start being prepared, because these are signs of what's to come, right? Signs of what's to come. Oh yeah, and one more thing, just before I even go further. I want to give supreme honors to my good brother Crackpit. We're going to get back to this Star of Bethlehem thing, but I need to put this on the record. Brother Crackpit, who is, a master musician, you know what I mean? He can blow a horn, right? A little while ago, he came to me with I don't know what to call it. He tapped in, basically. The reason why I'm talking about tapping in, okay, he tapped into something where he was able to see things in rocks. So he'll look at a mountain or whatever, he'll send me a picture of, a mountain, just rocks. You see something? I'm like, I don't know, I don't see nothing. And then he'll send me back the picture with the drawing of what he saw in the rocks, right? You're on to it, bro. Just so you know, right? And I put it out there, you know what I mean? Yes, he's a Muslim son, you know what I mean? He's European, but he's on it harder than Moors, right? So I just want to put on the record that you want to go get this book right here, Crackpit, Secrets of Ancient America, Archaeoastronomy and the Legacy of the Phoenicians, Celts, and Other Forgotten Explorers by Carl Leberger. You're going to go get this book right here. It's cheap. It's not even expensive. And the stuff that you brought to me, Crackpit, this guy right here, he drops it in this book on some supreme level, some levels that make you write the book about the stuff that, we were talking about. You write the book and you didn't know because, how more is going to be receptive to a European. Write the book because you're on something. So we'll just put it out there again. Secrets of Ancient America, right? Okay. There's the name. Write it down. Yeah, for real. No shit. Wait till you read the book. Wait till you read the book. European goes in. And he goes in. Goes in. More than more is going in. But Juali told us Europeans going to tell the truth. So, just make sure you go pick this one up. It's cheap. You know what I mean? 30 notes or something like that. It ain't even nothing. And it's a good size. You know what I mean? It's not some nothingness. Right? So yeah. So tap in. You know what I mean? Do like our European sons, you know what I mean? And forget all that crap about, we're the gods of the whatever and all that stuff. No. Everybody's God right now. It's just, are you able to tap in? Star of Bethlehem. What's going on this thing? And for real, yeah, I know you thought you were going crazy because the amount of pictures that you sent me with stuff that you've seen, right? I know you were tripping, right? It's not, it wasn't the shrooms and stuff like that. You're tapping into something. So just go hard on that book. Get that book right there. Even YouTube the same lecture author or whatever, and he got some videos and stuff like that. And you were on it, bro. I just wanted to put that out there, let you know, give you some inspiration that you were on it. For real. Right? On June 30th, 2015, Jupiter and Venus will merge into a dazzling superstar in the western horizon by the end of June. The conjunction of the two planets has been building during the month of June and will culminate in a spectacular display on June 30th. Every night in June, the separation between Venus and Jupiter will visibly shrink, says NASA. Right? A conjunction is when two or more objects appear very close together in the sky. On the evening of June 30th, Venus and Jupiter will appear in the sky just a third of a degree apart. That's less than the diameter of a full moon. You'll be able to hide the pair not just behind the palm of your outstretched hand, but behind your little pinky finger. Sky and telescopes suggest that a similar rare conjunction of Venus and Jupiter may have been what's been called the Star of Bethlehem. While the conjunction is certainly visible with the naked eye, Sky and Telescope says viewing it with a telescope or binoculars will offer a different perspective. Both planets will crowd into some telescopic field of view, Venus appearing as a fat crescent and round Jupiter accompanied by its 4 large moons. The two planets will appear nearly as the same size, but Jupiter, though much larger in reality, is much farther away. Their globes will contrast dramatically in brightness, with Venus's crescent appearing dazzlingly white compared to Jupiter's duller, stripped cloud deck. Pat Hartigan, Hartigan, an astronomer at Rice University, says the conjunction on June 30th is the best one we will have for over a decade, rivaled only by one on March 1st, 2023, which will not be quite as close. So where and when should we look for it? Look to the west, northwest, as soon as it gets dark, says Dr. Hartigan. After about 2 hours for most latitudes, the objects will become difficult to observe as they begin to set. They are bright. You might mistake them for airplanes. Is this a significant astronomical event? Not really. These planetary groupings in the sky have no effect on Earth or human affairs, except for one. They can lift our attention away from our own little world into the enormous things beyond. That's what amateur astronomers do all the time. So look out for, if you are able to, see some sky tonight, look out for Venus and Jupiter doing their little Star of Bethlehem ritual. And, if you're not able to, do the closed eye ritual, visualize the Star of Bethlehem, but know that it's not one star. Know that it's a conjunction that's happening. All right. Capitis diminutio maxima. CAPITIS DIMINUTIO MAXIMA. In Roman law, a diminishing or abridgment of personality, tills with a loss or curtailment of a man's status or aggregate of legal attributes and qualifications, following upon certain changes in his civil condition. It was of these three kinds, enumerated as follows: capitis diminutio maxima, the highest or most comprehensive loss of status. This is where our people are at right now, that are classified as Negro, black, colored. They're past civil little mortus. Right? They're past stateless. They are in the realm right now of the highest or most comprehensive loss of status, because now they're below beasts of the field right now. They get no honors from anybody. They get no respect from anybody. And as soon as they try to speak up or, try to rally some type of cry for help or whatever like that, they get shut down immediately. Right? This occurred when a man's condition was changed from one of freedom to one of bondage when he became a slave. It swept away with it all rights of citizenship and all family rights. Capitis diminutio media, a lesser or medium loss of status. This occurred where a man lost his rights of citizenship, but without losing his liberty. Right? So they're not even at that stage where they have some liberty, that they lost their rights, but they still have some liberty. We can say that maybe, when they talk about white privilege, we could say those people are probably there because, they got socials, driver's licenses and whatever, but, due to their white privilege, they're still able to exercise certain things on a certain level, right? Capitis diminutio media, MEDIA. A lesser or medium loss of status. This occurred where a man lost his rights of citizenship, right, claiming to be U.S. nationals and U.S. citizens, etc., and then coming to their senses that, that classifies me as a slave or, a subordinate. I'm going to denounce my U.S. status and claim a nationality from, where my ancient foremothers and forefathers are from, so I can have longer days on the earth plane. Right? Don't get it fooled that they're not following what Noble Drew Ali laid down for the Moors. It carried away also the family rights. Capitis diminutio minima, MINIMA. Lowest or comprehensive degree of loss of status. This occurred where a man's family relations alone were changed. It happened upon the arrogation of a person who has been his own master, or upon the emancipation of one who has been under the patria potestas, Patria Potestas. It left the rights of liberty and citizenship unaltered. So capitis, so okay, so capitis dominatio maxima is where Negro black colored people are at right now. Capitis dominatio media is where Europeans are, who realize that they can't be U.S citizens and then renounce their U.S citizenship and go back to wherever it is that they come from. And capitis diminutio minima is like when Chinese comes here and then he says Ben Chan in order for him to have some little privilege, whatever here. He doesn't lose really anything, but you know, it's just a change or alteration of his family line, right? So these are the three classifications of diminishment or abridgment of personality on these multiple levels. And this is just, stuff put out there just so that when we're trying to explain to our people why, we're doing what we do as Moors and explaining things the way that we explain them, that we can give them a little bit more to go on, right? Because a lot of people still have this mentality of, when Moors are talking to them, that we're talking from some perspective of, come join the Moors, come, be part of this group over here, because this group is really when, as soon as they have that mindset, start, easing back, because you're about to not talk to this individual anymore, because they still have cross wires in their brain because of their so-called enslavement that didn't happen, which is even, crazier. That you're going to ask them and they'll tell you, oh yeah, we got, Lenape in our family, and we got, Ben Ishmael, and we got, all these Aboriginal, indigenous, tribal, whatever, in their family, maybe only 2-3 generations ago. But they're going to be telling you about reparations and, they need to get something from slave master and all that. Speaking about that, I wanted to actually read something from one of my favorite groups of all time, Boot Camp Click. General Steele has his own label called Bucktown USA. The website is bucktownusa.com. And when I was on the website, they had this memo that was posted May 12th, 2015, called Stop Begging. Right? And this was right in line with, where we are, because, Moors don't play begging games. Even coming up as Negro Black Colored, we had a slogan, we don't beg friend, right? Meaning, we don't beg anything from anybody. You know what I mean? If we want something, we go get it. We don't want any handouts. We don't take grants and none of that crap like that. So I just wanted to read this memo to the fam from the BucktownUSA.com website. And this is a memo to folk, Folk. Stop begging. And then they have a picture of El Haj Malik El Shabazz as the picture for this little writer. One of the most endearing qualities about hip-hop culture is that it never asks permission. Hip-hop didn't ask permission of its elders in the community to move the crowd. It did not get the music industry permission to create a new genre or leave from fashion industry to create styles upon styles upon styles. Hip-hop just started bombing on the five senses, from graffiti on New York subways to radio airwaves to television, then film and corporate boardrooms by way of the hearts and minds of every generation of young people since its birth in the Boogie Down. Hip-hop did not beg for lodging. It scoped out its territory, set up shop in the collective unconscious, and now every night rocks till the break of dawn. The quote-unquote Black Lives Matter movement can take a lesson from hip-hop and get bolder in its messaging. The most popular hashtag from the movement, however, cute and pitchy, are unfortunately passive and overly submissive, basically weak, quote-unquote soft. Before we go any further, let me say this. The people in the street organizing, marching, and protesting for the realization of a more perfect union are the very best of what we have to offer the world. They are the embodiment of the American ideal, real American conscience, and pride in action. I love all of you and honor you every day. You give me hope that this land will live out its creed in my lifetime. Thank you. This missive is friendly advice from someone who is a student of effective messaging, a friendly ally who passionately wants to see your message communicated effectively now and for the future generations. Made an impactful message, truly a memorable message. Considering where we are as a nation, it is space and time. In this space and time, it's only right that the movement stand up and be recognized. Stand tall, stand strong. It's only right that the message of this movement in this space and time likewise stand tall and stand strong. Consider these. I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. Black Lives Matter. Stop killing us. Helpless, passive, pleading, desperate. Rather than lamenting the grip of a yoke, throw off your shackles and breathe. I breathe for Eric. We breathe for Eric. America breathes for Eric. Rather than unwarranted surrender, claim your birthright as founding fathers of America. Let's say that one again. Rather than unwarranted surrender, claim your birthright as founding fathers of America. Protect America's children. All American defender. Defend America's children. We got Mike's back. Rather than state the obvious, write your vision and make it plain so the world may know and follow your way to prosperity for all humanity. Black power is beautiful. And for goodness sake, rather than settling for little more consideration than the bare minimum afforded a beast of the field, make a bold declaration. We declare our right on this earth to be free men and women, to be human beings, to be respected as human beings, to be given the rights of human beings in this society, on this earth, on this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary. El Haj Malik El Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. With love, hope, and admiration, Ab Esquire. And again, this was from the Bucktown blog tag or page on bucktownusa.com. And you already know BCC for life. You don't even play with listening to any other crap out there. Mob Deep for life. Juice Crew, Queensbridge for life. You already know what it is, right? The Green Hilton Agreement. The Green Hilton Agreement. Let me just pull up this email right here so we can get these questions up as well. The Green Hilton Agreement. Just put this up there. So, you know, let's see. Certain people know what's up. You know, obviously this is 60s. Before we get to Green Hilton Agreement, just quickly outline something. Right? What is the rule of law? Derived from internationally accepting standards, the World Justice Project's definition of the rule of law is a system in which the following four universal principles are upheld. Universal principles are upheld. Right? Islam to the 16 people online, 7, keep the vortexes open. Derived from internationally accepted standards, right? Four universal principles. 1. The government and its officials and agents, as well as individuals and private entities, are accountable under the law. Not under legalese, not under some, Rome statute of whatever, under the law. What law? Under universal law. So don't get excited going to try to sue somebody because they violated their rights. Keep in mind, in order to sue a corporation, which the majority of these officials, government agents, individuals, and private entities are, you have to be a corporation too. So instead of suing them by going to these so-called tribunals or whatever like that, do like our good brother, Lanre, obey, get all their names or whatever. After they railroad you, get all their names, you got a camera phone, take their picture, right, and put it online. Whether you put it in as a blog, whether you make a video and do like what we're doing and just hold their face up to the camera and just show people who these people are or whatever like that, whatever you got to do, let that be your lawsuit. Because you don't want to go wasting fiat, giving them 500, 600 or whatever to go file some charges against somebody in their court that they're not going to acknowledge. Right? And why aren't they going to acknowledge? Because they know about the rule of diversity of citizenship and they exercise that to the best of their ability. As soon as you go at them, they're going to tell you that they don't recognize treaty of peace and friendship and all that stuff. But as soon as a Moor wound a European, trust me, they're going after their, constitutional question in order to get everything dismissed on the grounds of diversity of citizenship, right? If you don't believe, go to Moorish Guideposts, send an email to Brother Nature, and go get his newspaper that he wrote with his case when they sued Asbury Park and all these other agencies that were trying to mess with the Moors near New Jersey, right? And see how they weaseled, squirmed, slithered their way out of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for violating rights of a Moor. And again, we already know they don't got any gold or silver to give anybody when we sue in gold and silver, so that's out the question. They're not giving that up, right? It's all about getting our right back. So the purpose of us putting them on blast, putting them on Front Street, just like brother Lanre Obey. Remember, he had his case or whatever like that. He put everything online, videotape so-called highwaymen following him all over the place, knowing, highwayman knowing that he didn't have a license at the time when he was being videotaped, didn't give him a ticket, for no license. Like, didn't give him a ticket. Why wouldn't he give him a ticket? I mean, clearly he doesn't have a license. You guys are in case. You guys are in court right now for the fact that you arrested him because he didn't have a license. Okay, so he's released, and he's traveling, and he's being followed by the same highwayman that arrested him the first time. He stops, comes out the car, tapes the highwayman following him, and then doesn't get a ticket. But they're in court right now for him driving without a license. So we already know the criminals, how they do, right? Their backs against the wall. Raccoons in a corner, so they're going to fight. Don't get mad. Just don't get slashed by the raccoon. Raccoons cut through metal and stuff like that with their claws. You know what I mean? Raccoons swinging, don't let it out the corner. Don't kill it. But, keep your eyes on them. Keep your eyes on them. Right? 2, the laws are clear, publicized, stable, and just, are applied evenly, and protect fundamental rights, including the security of persons and property. So these are for all those people who make the claim that, something's wrong with the laws, we need to change the laws, and, Constitution suspended, and habeas corpus suspended, and, the government corporations have taken over, and they're not giving anybody rights, and whatever. Ain't nothing going on like that, right? Again, we're looking at damage control. We're looking at people who've been lying to people for generations, and now truth is starting to come out, and, like Master Teacher Taj Street Bay says, the phoenix bird is now eating its own tail, because a phoenix bird, it's an eagle. It's been fronting like it's a phoenix bird for the whole time. And now the gig's up, and everybody realized, oh, that's not no phoenix bird, that's an eagle. And that's not really the seal of the government, that's the seal of the corporation. The seal of the government is the pyramid. That Illuminati doesn't even claim that that's their stuff, but hey, if you put it on them, they'll take it because they know what's up. Right? So the laws are clear. Constitution. You have articles, you have Bill of Rights. 10 Bill of Rights. That's it. Anything after 10 is fraudulent, because in order to amend or adjust or do anything whatsoever to the Constitution, there has to be a constitutional convention. And there has been no constitutional convention ever when they said that they're adding on all these amendments, how much ever amendments that they got onto this fraud document that they're calling a Constitution right now. Right? The laws are publicized, stable, and just. Moors know that the laws are just, because Juali told the Moors since 1913 enforce the Constitution. Some Moors followed the lessons. Some Moors figure Noble Juali didn't know what the hell he's talking about. We're gonna enforce divine Constitution and bylaws. We're gonna enforce, whatever, admiralty law and maxims of whatever, and let the Constitution sit there and not use it. But Moors who study Noble Juali and they back him and they honor him, they enforce Constitution. They're not worrying about no go file papers and all that stuff. They're not worrying about no we need permission from Barack and we need permission from Eric Holder and whoever else in order for us to be Moors. We don't need any write-up from some government agency, write-up about the Moors, and now we're parading around with some write-up from some government agency to say, oh yeah, they acknowledge the Moors because they gave us this paper that says we already know that we're Aboriginal and indigenous to the land, right? They already know that we're Aboriginal and indigenous to the land, so we exercise as such, right? That's all it is. We know what's up. Anybody trying to put us on to what's up, like they call themselves so-called government, and they're trying to say, oh yeah, well, here's what the Moors should be, whatever. oh well, we'll give the Moors this and all that. That's not that. Don't even be fooled by that, right? As soon as so-called government agency says to a Moor or a group of Moors, hey, we're gonna give you land or we're gonna give you whatever, know that that's a New Age Indian reservation. Point blank, that's what it is. Because where do they get the jurisdiction to tell you where you can go and set up shop or whatever like that? Why are they giving you how they get jurisdiction? They're not even government. They're private. The government and its officials and agents, as well as individuals and private entities, are accountable under the law. It doesn't say that they have jurisdiction. We're talking about rule of law. We're talking about rule of all law. Rule of all law. So when we say rule of law, we're not just talking about, the laws that are clear, publicized, stable, and just that you see in your face or that you hear people talk about. We're also talking about the universal laws. We're also talking esoteric and metaphysical. For people who think that, nationality is not esoteric and physical, they think nationality is just some, well, nah, I'm spiritual, so I don't need to deal with that. Well, guaranteed, if you're that spiritual and you don't have a nationality, then you're not spiritual at all. Because, if you're spiritual, you know that, spiritual is breathing, and, if you're not breathing, then you're non-existent, not spiritual. Right? So everybody's spiritual, because everybody's breathing. But are you doing anything with those breaths? If you're not doing anything with those breaths, you better start doing something with those breaths. Because other people are breathing and they're sucking your life force, guaranteed. Just because, right? The process by which the laws are enacted, administered, and enforced is accessible, fair, and efficient. The process by which the laws are enacted. So that's like what we're saying. You're not going to go to some criminals to sue criminals. You're going to go get your blue, black, red, orange, indigo, gold, white candles and let nature take its course. You're going to go study Santeria and Vodun and Reiki and pranic energy and let nature take its course. Because nature does not assist anybody that does not assist themselves. Universal laws do not protect criminality. So, people could be criminals and stuff, do whatever they want. That's on the earth plane. But after you get out of here, don't think that you're not going to be held accountable for all the madness that you did here. Especially if you had a prophet that been told you that the only way that we're going to do this is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And you denied the principles, and now you're catching hell and mad at everybody when, we caused it on ourselves because we chose to not listen to the divine message. Right? The email is Canaanland Guide, CANANLANDGUIDE @gmail.com. 4. Justice is delivered timely by competent, ethical, and independent representatives and neutrals who are of sufficient number, have adequate resources, and reflect the makeup of the communities they serve. Justice is delivered timely by competent, ethical, and independent representatives and neutrals. So a prerequisite of justice being delivered is that they have to be neutral. So as soon as you go into a jurisdiction that claims they're about justice, and you hear people talking for different parties and all that type of stuff and bringing up, their personal stuff and all that, know that they're not neutral. You're around some criminals, and don't expect anything to come out of that. That's just poppy show. You know what I mean? Horse and pony stuff. That's just circus, right? Kangaroo stuff. Don't even pay any attention. Don't even waste your time. Recognize that you've been played. No, don't get mad. You know what I mean? Because, when you get played, that's your fault why you got played. You know what I mean? When you got a relationship and, yeah, she's so good and, I'm going to do everything and whatever like that. And then, you go in the party and then you follow her and then she's going on secret rendezvous or whatever with, the guy with the floods and, the bends and stuff like that. You got play. Nothing personal. You just do like the other bird did, film her, put it on YouTube. There's your lawsuit. You got baby mama, doing madness and stuff like that, and you got problems because of baby mama. Don't get mad. It takes two to tango. Justice is delivered timely by competent, ethical, independent representatives and neutrals. So pull yourself back and administer justice. And that doesn't mean, kick her down the stairs and stuff like that, because you already know Highwayman and the crew, they would lynch you for that stuff. So don't be stupid. Yeah, I heard on, Ustream, Cujo said, kick baby mom down the stairs in order to get justice or whatever. Don't even go there. Right? And also, those who are delivering justice have to reflect the makeup of the communities they're served. Right? Comes back to the same thing of diversity. So as soon as you walk into a tribunal, aka court, and you realize, hey, I'm Asiatic, and the guy up there is not Asiatic. Know that he does not reflect the makeup of the community that they serve, which diversity, which means constitutional question is in order. And once there's constitutional question, stuff has to be moved to some different jurisdiction to hear. And then when you go to that other jurisdiction and you realize same thing going on, and then it goes to the next one, then you go to the other jurisdiction and you realize, stop wasting fiat, take these people, get all their names or whatever like that, and put it on Front Street. Open their closet, make the world see what they have in their closet. Because the world is watching the Moors. As much as we say, you know what I mean? Like we were talking about with last class, when a little European boy could go into a church and kill 9 people, and God didn't warn them that he's coming, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, nobody put them on to game. You know what I mean? That this guy's coming to go shoot up the place. Nobody in the scriptures came out the book and said, hey, tomorrow, 5 o'clock, this guy's coming up in here to shoot the place up. Know that that stuff that you're following probably doesn't work too well. You should probably do something different. It's time to change your religion. But obviously, it's not working. On top of that, scriptures will tell you that there ain't no God up in there. Man-made stuff have nothing to do with the higher force or the higher power. Right? So, I hope you had time to go quickly do a little quick thing on the Hilton agreement while I was flapping my gums or whatever. So the Green Hilton agreement. This problem was brought about by the lack of sufficient currency, especially US dollars, in world circulation to support the rapidly expanding international commerce. I remember Juali told them all, the gold and the silver and the commerce belong to the citizens and the citizens alone. It doesn't belong to no personal agency that has some papers for you to file. So you can get a commercial agreement. You like it's so twisted. The world needed US dollars before the capacity of the good faith and credit of the United States taxpayer in order to facilitate trade. It was not possible to break the Bretton Woods Treaty, Bretton Woods Treaty, due to the possible damage of the stable core of the world economy, as this had the potential of leading to another major war. To compound the problem, the majority of dollars in circulation were in private banks, multinational corporations, private businesses, and individual bank accounts. In 1963, the gold that had been entrusted to the care of President Sukarno that's Indonesia's president at the time, was recalled by the nations to underpin the issuance of further US dollars in order to further facilitate international trade. Under this agreement, Sukarno, as the international trustee holder of the gold, began the process of repositioning the gold that had earlier been entrusted to the care of the Indonesian people back into the banking system to create a fractional banking for the US dollar. Initially, this was managed under the arbitration of the Tripartite Gold Commission in The Hague, as per the decisions of the international community through their government representatives at the Innsbruck Schweizer Conference and its later revisions. So Innsbruck, INNSBRUCK, SCHWEITZER Conference. Under the agreement signed between President Sukarno and President John Kennedy was that control of these assets would cede automatically to US upon the fall from power of President Sukarno. Interesting. Very interesting. This occurred in 1967. The potential of this agreement led to Executive Order 11110. The potential of this agreement led to Executive Order 11110, issued July 1963, which would have provided the Department of the Treasury the power to issue United States dollars. Within 2 weeks after signing the Green-Hilton Agreement, which would have enabled consolidation of Executive Order 11110, Kennedy was assassinated a few days after his signing of the Green-Hilton Agreement. With the death of Kennedy, the authority granted to the Treasury was never taken up. So that's the second part. The first part was Kennedy's bringing back the gold standard. Hey, everybody thought, they're going into Fort Knox or whatever to go get gold. No. They were getting as soon as the president of Indonesia stepped down, all the gold that was in Indonesia when it was under Sukarno's jurisdiction as the international trustee holder of the gold. I don't know how much gold or whatever, but as the international trustee holder of the gold, so he's the international trustee holder of the gold, the international trustee holder of the gold. There must be tremendous amounts of gold out there still, right now, that the people have access to, that's being swept under some rug somewhere. But if you go deeper in the Green-Hilton Agreement, further back, you'll be able to tie some other things together, just for studying purposes, because it is very interesting. Very interesting. Don't forget to do your research on um, Pope Francis and the abolishment of the doctrine of discovery, which all these people here signed on to. The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Pope Francis, Her Holiness Mata Amritan and Damai, Amritanandamai, Venerable Bhikkhuni Thich Nhat Chan Kong, representing Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. So Venerable Bhikkhuni Nuchankong, representing Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. Most Venerable Datuk Sri Damratana, Chief High Priestess of Malaysia, Chief High Priest, apologies, of Malaysia, DATUK K SRI DHAMMARATANA, Chief High Priest of Malaysia, Rabbi Dr. Abraham Skorka, Skorka, Rabbi Dr. David Rosen, Rosen, Dr. Abdallah Abbas Soliman, ABBAS, ABDALLA, ABBAS, SOLIMAN, Grand Ayatollah Mohammed Taqi Al-Modarrasi, AYATOLLAH, Mohammed TAQIALMODARRESI, and some other people. I'm tired of reading these goddamn people. So everybody knows that the doctrine of discovery is dead too. So all this stuff is dying all over the planet, and Moors want to know how they can file the UCC's order. When if you haven't done a UCC yet, don't be trying to do nothing now. You should have did that back when Alim was doing UCCs 10 years ago. You're doing UCCs now? That's tainted water. You don't want to be in that tainted water right there. We just wanted to put on the record the Newsom family crest of England, right? We already know the Knight's helmet represents the Moors. This is the replacement for the Blackamoor, to try to hide the fact that, dark-skinned people were the founders of Europe, but they have the Knight's helmet on there, because the Knights look like midnight, okay? And the reason why we're putting that up there, because we just want to put somebody, just get this letter put on the record. Sister Bree Newsom, I want to give her a little props for having some courage to stand up to this European, even though they put the flag back up. But she at least had enough courage to do the coconut tree climb. If you look at the legs or whatever, everybody in the islands, what's up. If you look at the legs, you can see that she's a professional coconut tree climber. The way she climbed that pole right there with no rope or whatever, and stayed up there in order to cut the flag down, right? She used to climb coconut tree, boy. Real good. The coconut tree climb away. Right? Look at the pose. You see she posing on the pole there? That's how you climb coconut tree, boy. Right? Sight! Cut down their flag. And they're mad at her. So she cut down their stuff. But she's a master on the coconut tree though. I know that was for you, Bakari, because I know it's been a while since you probably seen a coconut tree. So I just want to put that one out there for you. You know what I mean? Give you your props. You know, honors to you, bro. Alright? So this is sister's after she got arrested and all that, she came out with her little you know, they gave her a little bit of shine, let her talk a little bit. So we just want to put her so some of her stuff out there, just so people know what's up. I did it for all the fierce black women on the front lines of the movement, and for the little black girls who are watching us. I did it because I am free. Now is the time for true courage. I realized that now is the time for true courage. The morning after Charleston massacre shook me to the core of my being. I couldn't sleep. I sat awake in the dead of the night. All the ghosts of the past seemed to be rising. Not long ago, I had watched the beginning of Selma, the reenactment of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, and had shuddered at the horrors of history. But this was neither a scene from a movie, nor was it the past. A white man, and just the just the dynamics out here in Canaanland, the corporate state of Canada and its subsidiaries, province of Ontario, city of Toronto, city of Mississauga, city of Ottawa, city of Montreal, city of whatever, all classify quote-unquote youth as 13 to 29. Youth are from 13 to 29. So, ain't no white, that's why I keep saying white boy, European boy, went up in the church and shot up those people. Because according to his age, he's still youth, as far as we're concerned out here. So we'll call him a youth, right? So he's a youth, right? But she's in a white man, right? Entered a black church and massacred people as they prayed, right? So they were praying too. So they were praying, and no message came back that there's a guy coming in 10 minutes. He could have given them 10 minutes. God could have given them at least 10 minutes. Send a message back quick through the pastor, since he's the middleman or whatever. Send a message to him, lightning bolt or whatever. Wake him out of his prayer, and then have him relay the message from God. That would have been some get people to follow Christianity. If he would have came out of prayers on that one, God just told me we need to get out of here right now. We got 10 minutes. But anyway, he had assassinated a civil rights leader. This was not a page in a textbook I was reading, nor an inscription on a monument I was visiting. This was now. This was real. This is still happening. And she talks about, she began her, participation in the movement, the activism and stuff like that. We'll skip past that, right? The day after the massacre, I was asked what the next step was, and I said I didn't know. We've been here before, and here we are again. Black people slain simply for being black. An attack on the black church as a place of spiritual refuge. Spiritual refuge in the black church? I don't see them doing any yoga or Reiki or pranic. healing or anything like that in the black church. What's spiritual refuge? You know, God is a Germanic word, means to invoke, to pour out. I don't see them doing any libation or nothing like that up in there. I don't see them doing any rituals to realize their higher self or anything like that in church. Half the time, matter of fact, all the time, they're looking for something outside themselves to assist them. That's never assisted them. Other churches got burned down. Man, God never said anything or whatever, warned them or nothing like that. They never give up on this God yet. That doesn't exist. Did he play in this game about pray? That's why, you go check the More Science Studios video, support video, the song that we have on there, the brother Yasan L. And he made the song called More Rich. Not More Rich, but More Rich, Moorich, More Rich. He has a line in there, it's all law, no pray. All law, no pray. And it's all work, no play. But nationality is the order of the day. Sheikh Sharif, Abdullah Lay, the last prophet, came to say, but, wait till the album, because we're going to go in on them. Right? So, church as a place of spiritual refuge, claim. Not good claim, but, I refuse to be ruled by fear. It's a good lesson that people could take away from this. How can America be free and be ruled by fear? How can anyone be? So earlier this week, I gathered with a small group of concerned citizens. They're not citizens. They're U.S. corporate property. Both black and white, qualifying the fact that they're U.S. property, who represented various walks of life, spiritual beliefs, gender identities, and sexual orientations. So she met with the gays, just put it out there. She met with the gays too. The gays were at her little meeting, to figure out what they're going to do or whatever. Like millions of others in America and around the world, including South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and President Barack Obama, we felt and still feel that the Confederate battle flag in South Carolina, hung in 1962 at the height of the Civil Rights Movement, must come down. Of course, we were not the first to demand the flag's removal. Civil rights groups in North Carolina and nationwide have been calling for the flag's removal since the movement was raised, and I acknowledge their efforts in working to remove the flag over the years via the legislative process. We're also going to keep in mind that civil rights is struck down since 1800s. Once again, just putting it out there, civil rights struck down since 1800s as unconstitutional. Civil rights struck down since the 1800s as unconstitutional. And still today, they're talking about civil rights. We discussed it and decided to remove the flag immediately, both as an act of civil disobedience, insurrection, and as a demonstration of the power people have when we work together. Achieving this would require many roles, including someone who must volunteer to scale the pole and remove the flag. It was decided this role should go to a quote-unquote black woman, and that a white man should be the one to help her over the fence, as a sign of our alliance transcending both racial and gender divides. We made this decision because for us, this is not simply about a flag, but rather it is about abolishing the spirit of hatred and oppression in all its forms. Now, just for the record, kind of funny. There's a store out here, Hindustani store, right? This Hindustani man owns the store, and it's like a smoke shop type store posters, they sell flags and, you know, bongs and pipes and cards and knives and, all this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Posters and all this stuff, right? So they had him in the paper when the whole flag thing was going down. So you have this Hindustani man sitting there, then behind him, you got a big Confederate flag on the wall. And his statement was, well, we're not about racism or whatever. We're not about racism. We're about selling flags. So we're not taking down no goddamn flag or nothing like that. So forget that crap. Right? I removed the flag not only in defiance for those who enslaved my ancestors in the States, but also because I could climb coconut trees. No. I removed the flag not only in defiance of those who enslaved my ancestors in the southern United States, but also in defiance of the oppression that continues against black people globally in 2015, including the ongoing ethnic cleansing in Dominican Republic. But ethnic cleansing in Dominican Republic is being done by Dominicans. Ain't no Europeans doing that. Ain't no Confederates, supporters, killing Haitians in Dominican Republic. It's Dominicans doing that. And don't forget, they're on the same island or whatever, right? But, they gotta, pump up their craft, right? Anyways, so you gonna read the letter, you know what I mean? She goes on and on, you know what I mean? The good part about this whole thing is that the flag was put back up like an hour later, and it was two brothers that they got to put the flag back up, which was pretty, just crush your whole crap about whatever, they just get two niggers, you know what I mean, to go do the stuff. That's why you tell Moors, stop playing this game of do for yourself so that you can whatever like that, and don't worry, let the dead bury the dead. No, don't let the dead bury the dead. At least put the dead onto some game. Because if you don't, trust me, they're going to use those dead people to come take you out. They're going to, when you go to fight your ticket in court or whatever like that, and you figure, hey, yeah, I studied the law, I got this, and you're going to court to defend something, they're going to fund fighting you, Moorish American, by pulling over some Negro who they know European is their God. And they're going to find them and use that fiat that Negro pays, his ticket, to come fight you when you go fight your stuff. That's why they could keep adjourning all the time, because, Moors go into the jurisdiction of so-called tribunal court or whatever like that, and they go in there on the, I'm here to save myself, proclaim my nationality in front of the judge, let the judge know that I'm whatever like that, when they should have been in that court, 3 hours before their trial, handing out little cards, flyers, or whatever to everybody in there about nationality and birthrights. Because master teacher, Tashwebe, told y'all, if you go to court for something, you're fighting something, don't go there for yourself. Go there for anybody who's in there that's dealing with something, and they think in their mind that they're criminal because they didn't have a license, and they didn't have, and they owe child support and whatever like that, and they're not even looking at these people that they're going to as criminals. The real deal is that the people that they're going to are the criminals, and whether they owe child support, didn't have a license, didn't have insurance, didn't have plates, ran somebody over, murdered somebody, they're not the criminal first. The first criminal is those guys on the bench. that guy that they hired, that guy working for the state, call himself DA or whatever, stenographer, bailiff. Those people are the criminals first. And then we're going to look at the actions of the citizen. You know, I mean, to see what they're doing. 817. Might save some of this for next class when we get some of these questions. One thing I do want to put on the record, you're going to do your research on SOL FEGGIO frequencies. Solfeggio frequencies. Music to stimulate the vibration of expanded creativity, easier problem solving, and holistic health. Ancient solfeggio frequencies. Music to stimulate the vibration of expanded creativity, easier problem solving, and holistic health. Energy centers and how they work. Energy center. So this is going to be, you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 7 columns, right? And they're going to be as follows. Energy center, location, element, issues, right, color, note. Energy center, first root. Location, base of the spine. Element, earth. Issues, physical needs. Right to have, color, red, note, C. Second sacral, lower abdomen, water, sexuality and emotions, to feel, orange, D. Third, solar plexus, upper abdomen, fire, power and vitality, to act, yellow, E. Fourth, heart, air, love, to love, green, F. Fifth, throat, location, throat, sound, communication, to speak, blue, note, G. Sixth location, or sixth energy center. Third eye, location, brow, thought, intuition, to see, indigo, note, A. Seventh, crown, top of the head, light, understanding, no, violet, B. So if you go to Google Images and you look up ancient solfeggio frequencies, SOLFEGGIO frequencies, once you go there on Google Images, all these things looking like this are going to come up. Talking about these exact same things. All these different images, like hundreds of images with this on it. And then keep in mind that this is right in tune with, you know, like we said, energy centers, energy, chi, prana, reiki, etc. that Moors need to take a look at once in a while. If you need some assistance, you can go to Brother Ali Melbey. I mean, he's a practitioner, and he can school you. He also has some videos, some DVDs. If you go to his website, dralimelbey.com, he has some videos explaining, you know, the science. So the Moors could be in tune with everything. Because you know everything is our stuff. So don't throw away stuff. Just some interesting information with regard to tea culture. There's some stuff put out there for the morning. Senegalese tea culture is an important part of daily social life. Make sure, if you don't know, just Google Senegal world map, just so you can see where Senegal is. Just so, you have a picture in your mind where Senegal is as I'm reading this. Senegalese tea culture is an important part of daily social life. Senegal tea drinking revolves around mint tea especially, similar to other countries in the West African region, such as Gambia and Mauritania. In and around Senegal, tea is prepared and presented in an elaborate process known by the Wolof word ataya or ataya, A-T-T-A-Y-A or A-T-A-A-Y-A. People sometimes drink tea at breakfast, but more particularly after meals. It is the beverage that is offered to friends and visitors. Drinking tea promotes conversation and maintains friendship because it takes a long time to prepare properly. The words used in various ethnic languages to refer to the teapot, and the mint are borrowed from Arabic, proving that Senegalese mint tea is of Moorish origin. But, African Americans don't want to say that they're Moors. And all these African scholars don't want to say that they're Moors. But Senegalese tea custom comes from the Moors. And then you're going to do your research, because we're not going to read this just because you're going to do your research. There's the PDF out there called Tea and the Hidden History of Islam by Jennifer Dick. Tea and the Hidden History of Islam by Jennifer Dick. And that was her thesis that she wrote for university. Her thesis that she wrote. And it's going to be real interesting when you go read her thesis that she wrote for her master's or whatever like that for University of Florida, if I'm not mistaken, and what she talks about with regard to tea and the hidden history of Islam. Jennifer Dick. And then I just wanted to put this on the record, since we were talking about Florida. One of the great producers of Moorish Master MC, my good brother, Stevie Thunder, posted this on Facebook today, and so Cujo, peep game. So this is University of Tampa. University of Tampa. Just so you can see that everybody knows, like we've been telling people, everybody knows. But, who's telling? But they'll show you every day, all day. Who has ears to hear, let them hear. Who has eyes to see, let them see. So, hit up a couple of these questions. See what's good on the question front. On the question front. We have just some info from Sister Anya Bay. Indigo dye used for jeans and fez tassels. ANIL, anil, is pronounced like Anya, anil. Indigo dye nowadays is synthetic. Anil is native to the subtropical and tropical Americas, including the southern United States, the Caribbean, Mexico, Central America, and South America, as far south as northern Argentina. The species that has been widely introduced to other parts of the world and today has a, a pantropical distribution. It is an erect branching shrub growing to 1 meter, 3 feet tall, with pinnate leaves, and is commonly found growing in dry, highly disturbed areas such as roadsides and fallow fields. Anil is commonly used as a source for indigo dye, and if mixed with certain clays, can produce Maya blue, a pigment used by Mesoamerican civilization. So you can look up ANIL, anil, to see the plants that they use for our tassel dyes. So give thanks sis for that. Another question, or a question from Sister Anya Bay. Just curious, can you explain to me Moors who call themselves national grand sheiks, yet tell Moors to naturalize, not nationalize? Shouldn't these national grand sheiks call themselves natural grand sheiks? And I think that you have a point right there. When you think about it, if Moors who have certain level of information are going to claim that naturalization is the way for our people to proclaim their nationality, then logically the heads that are doing this process called naturalization should not call themselves national grand sheiks. They should call themselves natural grand sheiks. If we look at this logically, right? And that's a sign right there of we'll say a thinking more. That's a thinking more, right? That's how Moors, when they're studying, their minds go into realms that, you're not, who would think that? And just as I'm looking outside right now, I just saw like all the fog rolling in. I can't even see the building next to me, so you know that they're doing some rituals to stop people from seeing this Star of Bethlehem going on tonight. But that's a good point. And it is something that, next time you see one of these naturalizing Moors, you bump into them. So, they got their minions out there on Facebook posting, stuff, and just so you're familiar, anytime you see temple number 13, that's the naturalizing Moors. Anytime you see, naturalization, Sea Kirkman Bay, you know that those Moors are the naturalizers. You know what I mean? So be on the lookout for them, because you don't want to be messing with naturalization, right? Because when they pull that naturalization stuff, They're making Abraham Lincoln your prophet. They even have the picture of Abraham Lincoln with his hand on the book and all that type of stuff, and putting that relative to Noble Drew Ali with his hand on the book and all that stuff, trying to, make you think that, you know, you have some other president that you should be following when Noble Drew Ali is your president, right? Don't be fooled by these Moors trying to sell you out to the U.S. corporation. That's their plan, right? Um, Supreme Court demands apology from God for Sodom and Gomorrah. Just hours after ruling that all Americans, no matter their sexual orientation, can now legally marry the people they love, the U.S. Supreme Court went forward with plans to demand that God apologize and make amends for his actions at Sodom and Gomorrah. Many are calling, because they know what's coming, right? Many are calling the decision to hold God liable for the destruction of the impenitent cities as a victory for gay rights activists who have fought for centuries to see God brought to justice. The justices found that under the 14th Amendment, states must issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples and recognize same-sex unions that have been performed in other states, and that the divine judgment of God that was passed upon Sodom and Gomorrah was unjust. Justice Anthony Kennedy delivered the majority opinion and was joined by Justices Ginsburg, Kagan, Breyer, and Sotomayor in calling God to step down from his post immediately. And that can be found or confirmed on eyeoftibber.com. EYEOFTHETIBER.com. Eyeofthetibber.com. Supreme Court apology from God for Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, if God didn't answer the Negroes who were getting shot up, why do you think he's going to answer them? Weirdos. Another message or statement, question, whatever. Greatness, first of all, to Noble Drew Ali. Brother Cujo L. I'm in Atlanta, and it's been a roller coaster on finding or linking up with real Moors, which clearly means he's probably been bumping into a lot of dirty Moors or whatever out there. I am asking, can you help me study? I want to move forward. Well, one of the things that we implore Moors to do is to go to our favorite site, all right? Favorite site, rvbaypublications.com. rvbaypublications.com. Right? rvbaypublications.com. That is the online university for studious Moors. Right? What you would also want to do when you go to rvbaypublications.com, instead of going to the nationality card page and go get your nationality card and your right travel card, and now you can show them what? Get your student ID for the Moorish Heritage and History School, which is really a school. The school is a frame of mind. Get your ID, just like you get your ID for university, high school, college, trade school, whatever. Get your ID for your school, for your university, called Moorish Heritage and History School, right? and start studying. Take your studying serious through that site. Right? Take your studying very serious through that site. The site is extremely extensive. There is more than enough information on that site to keep you busy for 2 to 3 years if you want to study something. Right? Guaranteed. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that site would keep you busy for 2 to 3 years. And we're not even talking about, we didn't talk yet about the Blog Talk archives for Moorish Heritage and History School, that you're going to go listen to those and you have about a year of stuff, 2 years, if you include writing down notes from the Blog Talks and then going and doing secondary research after you hear what's on the Blog Talks. We're not talking yet about the 700 classes on Canaanland Moore's YouTube page that you can go and get extensive studying done again. That'll hold you for another few years. We're not talking about moorishciviletter.net. If you haven't been there yet, Moorish, civiletter.net. Brother Abdullah Bey, his website, not only his website, but all of his DVDs, not only all of his DVDs, all of his newspapers. There's ways that you can get, information. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's, it has to be searched out. It's not going to be handed to you like that. Unfortunately. It was supposed to be handed to you. Nobujwali handed it to the adepts. The adepts took it and they played power games. They played superiority. I'm the teacher, you're the student games with your information. You know what I mean? That they were supposed to give to you, because Jwali gave it to them. Don't forget, Jwali never charged anybody for, getting the information that he had. He gave it to people. He had newspaper and he put the information in the newspaper. And people took the position of, oh, you're dumb? All right, well, I'm going to sell this to you because you're dumb. And then dumb people, they bought it, not knowing that it's their birthright and that it's free. Okay? So I would start there before anything else. Don't be going and just punching up Moors on YouTube and stuff like that to try to get information on Moors. Because half the time, you got black guys teaching people about Moors, and black guys don't know anything about Moors. It's not even worth dealing with them, right? Brother had a question in the chat. If I am born in Atlantis Island and reside in Great Britain, who am I? Moorish American, or am I a Britannic Moor? If you were born in Atlantis Islands, then that's where your allegiance should lie first. Okay? Your allegiance would lie first with your nationality or your land of manifestation. So we know, for example, Canada is a private corporation, right? Canada is part of the Americas, which is a continent. But we also know people don't come from continents. People come from countries. So, where am I from or whatever? From Morocco. Because the jurisdiction above Mexico is called Morocco. It's not called U.S. It's not called Canada. Those are private corporations. Those, like you said, Atlantis Islands are Atlantis. Let's put that out there. Just so you can further your research, you can go get The Lost Continent of Mu And you can go get Lifting the Veil on the Lost Continent of Mu. Okay? Now keep in mind, these are dealing with the Lemuria jurisdiction, which was so-called, a myth, just like Atlantis is a myth. And when you realize, like you have, that those so-called Caribbean islands are really Atlantis islands, because those are the mountain peaks of, the land that was there. Because, if it's an island and it's not floating in the ocean, obviously it's grounded. What's it grounded to? What's under there? You know what I mean? So as you do your research, you're going to find out that Atlantis was ruled by Tahuti at one time, because Atlantis had colonies of Kemet or Egypt, and they used to go back and forth from the continent to Atlantis, build stuff, meet with people, whatever. No different than they got G7 meetings and all that type of stuff today. Anciently, we were already doing these things, right? So, yes, you are Moorish American, and then you're going to go from here over there to England, UK, whatever, right? When you're over there, you're going to be more. Just like when Chinaman comes over here, he's still a Chinaman. He's not, Canadian Chinaman. You know what I mean? He's still Mr. Chin, right? Because, all he did was go from one landmass to another, and going from one landmass to another does not change your national origin. That's why you get mad at Negroes who say they came from Africa but don't want to go back there. Because, you come from there and you're over here now. Why are you over here leeching off our stuff? Why don't you just go back to where you come from? If you came from over there, just go back to where you come from. Then why wouldn't you go back to the land of your ancient foremothers and forefathers? Why would you stay in the land that you were enslaved in? And if the land that you come from had a name, how come you're not using those names over here? They should be using those names over here, right? Next question. Might be a question, might be a comment, but Islam. Once nationality is proclaimed, what are some examples of when you would use your proper appellation? And some examples of when you would use the straw name. So let's say, okay, so you proclaim your nationality. So now you are El Bey. El or Bey or both or Day or Al. You don't want to use Ali because that's power. That's name of Allah. You calling yourself Allah, you better know what the hell you're doing, not emailing no questions. Right? Once nationality is proclaimed, some examples of when you would use your proper appellation would be letter in the mail. some guy telling you owe 8 million. If you don't pay, you're going to debtor's prison. You write them a writ in your free national name, challenging their jurisdiction to even write a letter to you. Let's say you proclaim your nationality and you have a conversation with somebody and they say, hey, I really like that information. Could you come to my youth group and speak on what you just told me? You know, go to them, you know what I mean? If they're gonna quote unquote pay you, you know, get cash, don't even take money order or nothing like that. You know, don't even take check or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, if you have an account, bank account, in the strawman name, then yeah, you know, if all they do is issue checks, then you know, get the check in the strawman name. When you go cash it, sign all rights reserved when you cash it. You know what I mean? And cash the check. No big deal. Don't feel, you know, coerced or anything like that because you proclaimed your nationality and then you went and you used the strongman name and now, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that because, you know, now I'm less of a more because I use, you know, I get caught up in that stupidness there. You know what I mean? Joel even told you, all new business, do it in your free national name. All old business, leave it in a slave name. So your account, you sure you had your account before you proclaimed your nationality. So don't worry about it. Let it stay as it is and use it as you see fit. Right? And like I said, if they say cash, then you know they'll give you the cash in your hand in an envelope or whatever like that, and then you go in there and you talk from the perspective of Elbe. I mean, um, and some examples of when you use the straw name, again, any old business, you're going to do that in the straw name. Any old business, anything that's old. Because I don't, like me personally, I don't do the go and change um, um, licenses and whatever into the free national name because I know that those instruments are corporate instruments and I don't want my free national name tied up with corporate stuff. So I don't even go there. I mean, um, anything that I have in the straw name, I just reserve my rights when I use those things. So whether it's bank account, if it was a license or anything like that, you know, I would just reserve my rights. Learn to live within contracts. You can go on the RV Bay Publications website under the readable downloads, and there's an article on there about living within contracts. You want to read that article about 50 times, you know, so you're clear. But I know there's going to be stuff in there that you know, you're not really clear with or whatever like that, as far as language, and that'll assist you. Um, um, Brother put on the question, the Olmec and the Zulus are not Moors. Do you agree? I don't agree because I know that the Olmec and the Zulus are dark-skinned people. And Moor is any dark-skinned person, especially African Negro. So the Olmecs and the Zulus are Moors. Right? That's why Africa Bambaataa said Zulu nation of Kemetic Moors. Because Zulus are Moors. And that's why the Washita say that they're descendants of the Olmecs. The Washita Moors say that they're descendants of the Olmecs because the Olmecs are Moors. You know, right? Does all paperwork that you have with an employer need to be changed to your proper appellation? With regard to employers, once again, let old business stay as it is. Do all new business in your free national name. If you have an old business employer, You want to go messing around getting them chain stuff and all that, because if that is your livelihood, when you put your free national name in that jurisdiction of quote unquote a job that you've had for 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, and you're telling them change, you probably got 3 months left to work before they fire you because they realize that they're going to have to pay your taxes. IRS or CRA is going to come down on them to pay the taxes that really supposed to go to you, and they'll let you go just to be, just why keep you on if you're gonna cost them, how much ever thousands of dollars. They might pay you out, they might give you a good little package or whatever, depending on how long you've been working, but they don't want nothing to do with Moors working for them. That's why it's important to have a trade so that you can work for yourself, work for your nation. If you don't have a trade, humble yourself. Don't worry about them paying you and employers taxing and whatever like that, because it's a fiat system and it's really energy. So when you go there, don't work as hard. I mean, work a little lighter. Don't be killing yourself for these people until we get to the place where we can hire our own or give our own jobs. Until then, unfortunately, you're gonna have to work for this European or teach people about their nationality and birthrights so that this system could fall tomorrow and we could all not have to work, and then we can put our energy where it's supposed to be and not worry about fiat, because if system falls, then there's no fiat anyways, no paying for anything. So right. And then the prophecy of Drew Ali is going to be invoked, where our brothers from the east are going to have to come and assist us or save us, which is leading there. It's already there already. If you really check, what's going on from a world perspective, it's not Europeans saying bring back gold standard and stuff like that, and Bitcoin, and start all these different currencies and start bartering and trading again and all that. It's all these nations who aren't messing with U.S. Federal Reserve notes, that are talking like that. So they're already taking steps to um, assist in destroying this private corporation that's been pretending to be government, that they realize now isn't government, because those treasury bonds and fiat notes and everything else is not backed by gold and silver. They know now that it's not. So they're 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 pissed a little bit, but they can't just come in here and kill everybody, because they know that just like Vietnam, some of their brothers are involved in this thing, and they're not just gonna just deal with their brothers like that. They can't, because they know that two races, Asiatics and Europeans, and the water is muddy right now, so you can't just dip your cup and drink. You gotta let the mud settle. When the mud settles, then you can start doing some stuff. But then they also know that they start coming over here playing tough, that U.S. and Canada corporations have their minions that have all these millions of rounds of hollow point bullets that they don't want used on them. So they're going to humble themselves, they're going to make little deals, they're going to buy buildings, and they're going to do all these things, to make it look like, they're not a threat, when, it's pretty much, it's close to panic time, for them. It's real close to panic time, right? Um, Another question is, which name would you use in purchasing a car? Depends on how you're purchasing. You know, if you're purchasing by paying fiat notes and you have the fiat notes, then you know that's new business. If you're nationalized and then after you're nationalized you have some fiat to go buy a car, then you do it in your free national name. Just make sure that they don't give you any, you know, ownership registration crap with your free national name on it, because then you're going to have to go get a license. And then you're going to go have to get, you know, state plates. And then you're going to have to go get, you know, insurance and all this type of stuff. If you buy a car in your free national name, you want the manufacturer's certificate of origin. If you can't get the manufacturer's certificate of origin, you want to draft up a bill of sale, right? And get the what do you call it, car dealer or whatever like that to sign the bill of sale. You know, you draft it up. You know what I mean? Just like you would draft up, you know, a document equivalent, or you would draft up the bill of sale equivalent to a manufacturer's certificate of origin. You're gonna still take the ownership, right? But don't let them put your free national name on that. You better have some trust or something that you created that you're gonna put that on the ownership, and then you're gonna put the ownership laminated onto a trust document, and then file the trust document as, you know, quote unquote registered. Because as soon as you have the ownership, then you have to go with the state whatever, you know, right? Even if you go the route of even have, you know, DOTs or whatever, you know, Department of Transportation tags or whatever like that, you can get. I know there's more that use those, you know, and the from what I understand, those plates are different than the state plates or whatever. You know, it's a different jurisdiction, and then you can get those personalized or whatever. But you know, I wouldn't even be in some consideration of buying some car and all that stuff if you got fiat, because you know, if system crash tomorrow, you can't eat your car. You know, if you got fiat like that to go buy a car, I say take, you know, $1,000, buy a shit box or whatever, and take the rest. Buy some water, buy some dry goods, buy some things, you know, buy some if you live in jurisdiction where, you know, it's a little chilly, buy some, you know, blankets and shit like that, and start stocking up some stuff in case, you know, they try to hit off this thing this winter. You know what I mean? Because they will try to, oh yeah, buy some spray cans of, you know, insect spray and stuff like that. Because, you know, in cold weather, you know, roaches, rats, anything else living is going to be looking for places warm to live. And the warmest place they can live is in somebody's house, in their cupboard. You know, and if system crash, you're not going to have no opportunity to go buy, you know, any spray stuff and all that. You know what I mean? Get some, what's that thing called? Boric acid. Buy some boric acid. You could put that in water and use boric acid as your insect repellent or whatever. You know, um, um, you know, candles and, you know, things of that nature. I don't spend no money on no car. Don't be buying no $20,000 car or whatever like that just because you have the fiat. You know, take that 20 G's and buy something that you can eat or drink that's not gonna perish or, you know, whatever. When you buy a shit box, trust me. I mean, do not go buy no $5,000 car so you can whatever. Get something, you know, easy, right? And again, it's not no apocalypse or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's just, Dwally said, be prepared. If you're ready, Mars, stay ready. If you're not ready, get ready. And I even have to get ready because I'm on E with water right now. I got some bottles left right now, and those go down every day or whatever. So there it is, Moors. Islam, peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Um, don't forget Moorish Heritage and History School. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS eyes wide open. That is going to be at 9:30 p.m. every Tuesday, right after this, right? Don't forget, we just got notice in the class. Also, cypress oil. You can get cypress oil for the bug spray. If you don't want to use bug spray and you're organic and whatever like that, you get the cypress oil, and that'll help you out. Call the number for Blog Talk 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Thank you for tuning in. There's not going to be class this Sunday live, but we are going to have a special exclusive upload for you on Sunday night or Monday. Exclusive. Got email today and I'm about to go down. We got the exclusive one. So you're going to like that one. So peace and love to all the Moors once again. Honors to Allah and honors to the Prophet Noble Juali for, giving us our nationality and birthrights, and having us be a nation again. Oh, and don't forget, Rude Boy Clothing, Rude Boy Magazine, they did their article on Iron Sheep, Moorish MC. So I just got my free hat, So I just wanted to put my free hat on the record so that, they know that, we're supporting or whatever like that. Thanks for the free hat, for the article. And if you want to support Rude Boy, just, rudeboy.com, And then, this is Rude Boy in Chinese, It doesn't say, kill niggers or nothing like that. So peace and love to all the Moors. We'll just close out with the prayer. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Juali. Islam, Ashe. Peace and Hotep. Oh, and as well, once again, just a plug, don't forget, our good brother that's locked up right now, you could use your support. The Cultivation of I Am, his new book, good size book, right? $14.95, Sheikh Andrew Parham Bey. Support the brother, the young brother, you know what I'm saying, in the belly of the beast right now. All he has time to do is study, and he studied and he's manifesting what Drew Ali said. In order to change, people change their literature. So make sure you show support. Just look it up, The Cultivation of I Am, Midnight Express Books. Alright? The book of hardcore reality, not fiction. The Cultivation of I Am is an educational venue of work in a mythology created by the author. Included in this book is a sample lesson book and gives explanations on what the work is about and how to decode it. The Cultivation of I Am. This is like a from nigger to God type book. Very interesting concepts. Very interesting. Brother locked up, doing his work. To try to assist fallen humanity. Peace and love, Moors. See y'all at 9:30. Islam.